Hey everyone, it's Anna. I just put together this little video of our recent trip to Ecuador with Main Audubon through field guides. I am not a professional photographer or videographer by any means, but enjoy as best you can. So I thought we'd start off with some maps so you can kind of get the feel for where we were. This is just a general terrain map of Ecuador. Ecuador is actually only about the same size as Arizona, so we really didn't cover that much ground. So if you imagine Quito is Bangor for a second, said no one ever, the lodge at San Isidro, where we spent most of our time, is about the same distance from Quito as Scudic Point is to Bangor. But just imagine seeing 300 species of bird on that 60-mile stretch. And this is the last map I'll show for now, but I'll keep bringing it up just to show where we went. So the first day, Dad and I landed in Quito around 1 a.m., and after a baggage snafu, we woke up the next morning ready to go explore Quito for a day before our official tour started. I was very excited to see alpacas and/or llamas when we landed in Ecuador, and I was very happy the first morning to walk out of our hotel rooms and to see these guys just hanging out on the lawn. We started by taking a tour of the botanical gardens in Quito, which were really amazing, and they had a great showcase of Ecuador's 4,000 plus species of orchids. I took way too many pictures, but here are a couple of my favorites. We didn't see too much for birds at the botanical gardens, but everything was a lifer for me, so I was pretty happy even about things like this striated heron, which is basically a funky black-crowned night heron. We had lunch in part of the old city of Quito, which was fantastic, and very atmospheric. We had a traditional dancer show up multiple times during the meal, and none of us really knew the etiquette after the third time he showed up, if we were supposed to pay attention or not, so this is a clip of that. After lunch, our guide, Gallo, took us around to famous historic sites in the old city. This is the Presidential Palace in Independence Square, and he then took us to La Campania Church, which was a church that they started building in the early 1600s, and it took 160 years to complete. And as you can see, it is very, very gold. We walked around outside and then inside the convent of San Francisco, right in the heart of the old city. It was incredible. There were pigeons flying everywhere. Yes, we did e-bird them. And we also almost crashed a wedding inside as we made our way up to the top. The weather was beautiful and sunny. It was about 70 degrees at the end of November, but little did we know this would be some of the only sun we'd see the whole trip. But alas, after having one day of culture, we had to move on to the actual point of the trip, which was the bird stuff. So I will walk us through the map real quick and where we went on our jam-packed first day. Most of our trip took place along the major route through the eastern part of the Andes, the E20, but the first day was really the only day we strayed off of that. We went south and then east a little bit to Antisana National Park, and on our way up there we stopped several times to look for cool high-elevation species. coming from the northeastern United States where we only have one species of regular hummingbird, it was so incredible just to start seeing all the big, flashy, tiny, any adjective you can imagine hummingbirds start to fly around all around us. We started getting more into the Paramo, which is the high elevation grassland, and with that came even more new species. We saw endemics, or near endemics, like the Ecuadorian hill star, which is a high elevation hummingbird, and we also got a peek at a tawny antpitta. Antpittas are hard to see in general, so it was a real treat to see this guy, even though my video is very bad.
He really sings his heart out.
Up on this flat part of the grassland, we got maybe our most dramatic look at an Andean condor. It wasn't the closest look, but I mean, you can't really beat an Andean condor with a volcano in the background. We also saw some Andean ibis, which are also a very range-restricted species. I wanted to see all the species we could with Andean in their name, and I think we did a pretty good job. We got the condor, we got the ibis, coming up as a picture of the Andean lapwing, all the big Andean names that I wanted. This lake at about 13,000 feet was where we got, I think, almost all of our waterfowl for the trip. The weather wasn't great, but you know, we're happy to do it to get our Andean teal. If you had to name this caracara, do you think you'd name it something practical, like the black and white caracara? No, it's the carunculated caracara. Obviously, you can see all the caruncles on its face, which are the little nodules. Anyway, these guys were strutting around the Paramo. This one pictured here was eating a rabbit. Alright, so we wrapped up our time at Antisana, and now it was time to head to Guango Lodge for the night, which we couldn't drive over the volcano, so we had to drive around the volcano, basically backtracking, almost back to where we started from. But along the way we got a surprise from a very special visitor. Mitch, our wonderful guide, knew of a good spot that spectacled bear sometimes showed up, so it was still kind of a crapshoot whether or not we would be able to see it, but we were rolling down the side of a very busy road with the bus door open, looking for any black speck on the side of the hill, and just about to give up when suddenly Doug shouted, "Bear!" and everyone ran to look out the window, and we all piled off the bus and got to see this incredible mammal. It looked sort of like a cross between a pig and a bear, digging up roots to eat, just along the side of the road. So after that incredible wildlife encounter, we continued up the road towards Guango Lodge. And first we had to go over the Papayacta Pass, which at over 14,000 feet was the highest point we'd be at during our trip. We actually went up this sort of sketchy road in our bus with one goal in mind, to see a rufous-bellied seed snipe, which we did not see on this trek up the mountain, but I mean, the scenery made up for it. We got to see Antisana from the other side, and we got there right at sunset, so the lighting was pretty incredible. So the Papayacta Pass was the highest elevation I've ever been at in my life, at around 14,300 feet per Doug's Apple Watch. It was my first experience being short of breath just standing there, and every little thing took a ton of energy, so these selfies, I hope I burned some serious calories taking these, and thank you, Trudy, for capturing that one of me and Doug with the volcano in the background. After coming back down from the seed snipe spot, we jumped back on the E20 and worked our way down towards Guango Lodge. We had a very good night's sleep with hot water bottles, as you can see in the next picture, and we woke up the next morning refreshed and ready to go see an entirely new set of birds. Here's a picture of Mitch, our intrepid guide, always an optimist even when the weather was kind of crummy, and the scenery was just astonishing. I had no idea there were this many waterfalls in Ecuador. We had a very special target bird in mind for our morning at Guango. After a very muddy walk, we got up to a hide where they have trained gray-breasted mountain toucans to come into grape and banana feeders, so we were super thrilled to just show up and see this beautiful bird sitting in the pouring rain, enjoying itself and eating grapes. After our very soggy toucan trek, we had a lot of fun watching the hummingbirds at the feeders at Guango. Again, just a totally different set of hummingbirds from the day previous, which blows your mind if you're from northeastern United States. One of my favorite hummingbirds, and I think a lot of people's favorite hummingbirds, was this long-tailed sylph. Just maybe they were magic. I can see why people believe in fairies after seeing these guys darting around the feeders. After our morning at Guango Lodge, we continued eastward down the Andes towards San Isidro Lodge. We made several more stops along the way and picked up quite a few more species of hummingbirds. We actually wound up coming to this stop a couple times over the course of our trip. This was just someone's backyard, basically, and Mitch knew the owner, and he just had an incredible array of feeders and wildlife in his backyard. So on the feeders in the backyard, we just have some casual Peruvian rackettails. That's the male on the right. We've got a fawn-breasted brilliant on the left, and now the female Peruvian rackettails on the left. We've got a banana quit, and then there's a speckled hummingbird in the background there. Just constant activity. It was hard to know where to look. Mitch could actually pick out hummingbirds by voice, which was very impressive to me because they all just kind of sounded squeaky like this guy here. So it had taken us about 2 days to get from the airport to San Isidro Lodge, which would be about a 2-hour trip if you just drove straight, but we finally rolled into San Isidro at the end of our second day of birding. So San Isidro Lodge is so beautiful, and it actually belongs to Mitch, our guide's wife, Carmen, which I don't think any of us knew before starting out on the trip. The land that it's on has actually been in her family, the Bustamante family, since the 1950s, and they were some of the earliest conservationists in the area. The rooms were spacious and super comfy. We didn't actually wind up seeing a lot of them though, because we were pretty much birding 5:30 a.m. and wrapping up around 8 p.m. most days. We actually did pretty well with ant pitta sightings over the course of this trip. They're notoriously skulky, and this guy here, the white-bellied ant pitta, they had actually trained to come into worms at the lodge, but it was still kind of up in the air if we would actually see it. Pretty much the only hummingbird at the feeders at San Isidro was the chestnut-breasted coronet. They were very territorial, so they stood their ground and scared most of the other hummingbirds away. There were some familiar friends, like Blackburnian warblers. We also saw Canada warblers, Swainson's thrushes. It was pretty crazy to see what we think of as our summer birds hanging out down here in their winter range. But of course we were in Ecuador to meet unfamiliar friends, so we spent the next 5 or 6 days birding around the lodge itself and taking some day trips here and there to try and rack up as many species and experience as many different habitats as we could. We did find ourselves back at La Brisa once or twice. That was that backyard with the incredible feeders. This is also part of the property, just incredible views of the valley. We did almost lose a scope over the side of the cliff here, but it was saved. We also got to see this scaled fruit eater, which wasn't actually the species of fruit eater we were after on this property, but you know, we'll take any fruit eater we can get. We had the coolest Thanksgiving I've ever experienced. We were also very fashionable and dressed for the holiday with these beautiful umbrellas. And one of the first things we did on Thanksgiving was check out this giant worm.
For the giant.
Something to scale. Blend for scale. Can you give it a... Oh, I don't like that. You gotta do what you gotta do to go see the birds, so we took the bus up some maybe questionable terrain, probably not anything the manufacturer had in mind, but we did literally go over the river and through the woods. Or maybe actually just through the river and through the woods. Not a great video. We took the traditional Thanksgiving Cock of the Rock walk, as one does, in the afternoon, making our way down to a known lekking area on the San Isidro property. That evening at 6:15 p.m. sharp, we got to witness a really cool spectacle, the resident San Isidro night monkeys emerging from their daytime nest area. They're very punctual and their habits are very predictable, so Mitch knew right where to see them.
Yeah.
Nice.
So cool.
That was the intention of it, really?
No, I mean, whatever you need. Put them first.
Do you think you...
Right after the night monkeys, we got another good look at this black-banded owl, known as the black-banded San Isidro owl. Is it its own species? Time will tell, but here's my official documentation photo just to prove that I saw it, in case it does happen to be its own species. The day after Thanksgiving was our day for Amazonian lowland birding, which unfortunately the weather, as Mitch described it, was your classic Amazonian rain most of the day. So we traveled about an hour further down the road, down the slope from San Isidro and into the Amazonian basin. We actually wound up doing decently well despite the conditions. But yeah, as Doug said in his main Audubon overview of the trip, it was basically a tour of random bus stops along the side of the road. Any roof that we could bird under, we did. This random roadside stop actually yielded quite a bit of good stuff, and thanks to Doug for braving the rain and cow patties to bring people their cameras. We got decent looks at a couple Amazonian umbrella birds, and the moment seemed fitting because this was us in the Amazon under umbrellas looking at the umbrella birds. We also got to experience the consequences of constant heavy rainfall. We did wind up getting stuck behind a landslide for about an hour while they brought up some heavy machinery and started clearing off the road. So that was just another day in the life of Ecuadorian driver in the area. We got a much better view of a cock of the rock male and female. And it actually finally started to clear up, despite us saying, hey, it looks like it's clearing up all day long, and we got to get a good view of Sumaco volcano, which surprisingly had been there the whole time, we just had never seen it. Mitch was determined to squeeze every last bird out of Ecuador for us, which was greatly appreciated, but sometimes that meant after a long, damp day, just driving along the road in the dark looking for the eye shine of a nightjar that probably wasn't there. Your head is steaming, Father. So we only had one full day left in the San Isidro area after our lowlands day, but it was actually sunny, so we made the most of it by going on a hike on the Guacamayos Ridge, which we had been before on this trip, but we had never been able to take in the scenery because it had always been drizzling to pouring. After about a week at San Isidro, it was time to make our way back to Quito. So we left San Isidro, drove by Guango, and then spent some time in the national park area right above the town of Papayacta. There were some pretty cool birds up there. This is a pair of red-crested cotingas. They did have their crests fully deployed at one moment, but I didn't capture it. And this is an agile tit tyrant. I guess when there's so many birds you just run out of names. This tit tyrant didn't seem any more or less agile than other small birds that we saw. Heading back west towards Quito, we did stop at the Papayacta Pass again to give the rufous-bellied seed snipes another go. Hey Dad, where are we going to look for seed snipes? That noise they make is so cute. So we were prepared to scour pretty much the entirety of the Andes looking for these guys, but then my father literally tripped over them. He tripped over a sort of plastic piping, and this family of seed snipes scurried out from underneath it. It was a crazy way to find them, and what a crazy bird. They look like a grouse, but they're actually in the shorebird family, and just them with the backdrop was just stunning. The seed snipes were such a special way to end the trip, and thanks to Jen, Woody, Doug, Trudy, Sue, Glenn, and Mitch, of course, for making this trip just mind-blowing and one I will not forget in a hurry. So that concluded the main Audubon portion of the trip, but my dad and I actually wound up doing an extra day where we went west from Quito, and we got to see an entirely new set of birds. We were in an area called the Tandayapa Valley. It's about 2 hours west of Quito, not actually that far as the flower piercer flies, but you know, no road is straight in Ecuador. We stopped by Alambi Reserve, which had the craziest hummingbird feeders of the entire trip. I think we picked up 14 new species of hummingbirds here. We also got to feed them by hand, and please don't judge the noises I make too much because I was living out a childhood dream.
step a little bit closer so there you go. Yeah, exactly. Right here.
We had lunch at this lodge here, and we took a walk around their grounds afterwards. Just crazy euphonias and different tanagers from the ones we'd already seen. We heard some toucan barbets in the distance, and we wrapped up our entire stay in Ecuador by watching the violet-tailed sylphs come into the feeder. I just want to take a second to thank all of the remarkable people we met in Ecuador, guides, staff, locals who helped us along our birding journey there. This is Gonzalo. He was our guide on the last day, just incredibly upbeat and helpful and very interested in Maine birds. He just wanted to know everything, and it really did reinforce the idea that birds connect us worldwide. I also want to thank Edgar, our driver. He kept us safe even on kind of precarious roads. Pablo, who helped guide the first day. Dominique, whose local knowledge was invaluable in helping us find birds around San Isidro. Danielle, who showed us the toucans at Cuango. Fabiola and the kitchen staff at San Isidro. We had the best food. Guido, who made us eggs in the morning before long days of birding. Herman, whose house, La Brisa, we spent quite a long while at. Susanna, down in the lowlands, who gave us coffee and snacks and sheltered us from the rain. Mitch, of course, for being an incredible guide. And obviously Carmen and the Bustamante family for having the foresight many, many decades ago to conserve such amazing land. So I ended with 329 bird species over 10 days for the Ecuador trip, 300 of which were lifers for me. 49 of those 329 were just hummingbirds, which is insanity. Ecuador, I love you. Thank you so much for opening my eyes to the incredible biodiversity of the neotropics. I can't wait to come back.